this I was both surprised to see and glad to see. So I think CNN's attempt to try and balance out some of their coverage, to put into context exactly what's going on there. Here's CNN's Brianna Kyler commemorating, in their words, 12,800 children that have died in Gaza due to Israel's offensive, bombing, shooting, etc. And here it is.
A warning to our viewers that what you are about to see is quite disturbing, and it has to do with children. This is the human cost of the Israel-Gaza war. These are tiny figures of children on the walls of our studio, one for almost each of the 12,800 kids who have died in Gaza, according to numbers from Gaza's health ministry. The death toll, quite frankly, is hard to keep up with. Airstrikes and now malnutrition and dehydration are killing them. Here's a glimpse inside Kamal Adwan Hospital in northern Gaza, where several children have died of starvation.
Tiny limbs, bones protruding. The constant sound of crying from children now facing starvation in Gaza. These were little Yazan's final moments, his tiny fingers gripped in his mother's hand.
Yazan al-Kafarne was just 10 years old when he died on Monday. And a day later, UNICEF sounded this alarm. The babies of thousands of women who are due to give birth in the next month in the Gaza Strip are at risk of dying. Premature births are up. Mothers, dehydrated and traumatized, struggle to breastfeed. They can't find formula. They can't find clean water. And without relief, the threat from famine could eclipse that of airstrikes, like the one this past weekend in Rafah that killed 5-month-olds Wasim and Naim Abu Anza, twins, long awaited by their parents, who finally conceived 11 years after they married, according to Reuters. Their mother, Rania, told the news agency, "We were asleep. We were not shooting and we were not fighting. What is their fault? What is their fault? What is her fault?" In October, an Israeli strike killed 11-year-old Malak Sharaf, along with her 10-year-old brother Malik, and their 6- and 3-year-old sisters Yasmin and Noor, according to the Washington Post. And 13 of their cousins also died. In October, Al Jazeera reported that an airstrike on a home where Gaza bureau chief Wael al-Dawdu's family was sheltering after being displaced killed his wife, his 15-year-old son Mahmoud, his 7-year-old daughter Sham, and his 1.5-year-old grandson Adam. The distraught journalist carrying Adam's tiny body through Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital shortly afterward.
It is pretty tough video to watch, and it's actually even worse than this, because a statement from the family said that there were 12 members of the al-Dawdu family who were killed. 9 of them were children.
I mean, good for CNN for covering that and showing that footage. Horrible. Horrible. I just continue to sort of not understand how people can justify that in their heads. Like, where you have to go immediately to justify that in your heads.
I think people just don't want to confront what is actually being relayed to them, which is like a journalist had a bunch of his family killed, and that is a pattern we've seen over and over again. In like hundreds of journalists have been killed, and in a way that, like, I don't think it's all indiscriminate. We talked with Nando Villa, who had the series on Pegasus, about how all the different technology that Israel has for spying on journalists, and all of a sudden get bombed.
Israel bragged at the beginning. Yeah. We have the ability to place all of these phone calls, these cell phone calls, to warn people to leave and to get out of northern Gaza. Okay. You have the ability to call these people in Gaza and tell them to leave the area they are and go down to the south. How do you know you're not calling people who are already in the south? Like, they have revealed that they have the technology to know where everybody's cell phones are. I mean, of course they have the ability to target these things. Of course they do. cannot be a coincidence.
I mean, Rafat al-Arir was the week before he was bombed saying, hey, can Barry Weiss cool it on saying like I'm anti-Semitic because the people in the IDF listen to this stuff?
Yep. And then he was killed. Hey, as we head towards the 2024 election, both parties are going to attempt to control the media narrative. So it's vital to know what you're reading and where it's coming from, which is why our sponsor, Ground News, is going to be absolutely crucial. Their website and app gathers related articles from around the world in one place with context about each source, like whether they have a political bias, how reliable they are, who owns them, etc. Go to ground.news/majority to check them out. One of my favorite features, it's the blind spot feed, which shows you stories that are disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. So when your neighbor tells you that 1/3 of Americans think Biden's election was illegitimate, you're going to know he's talking about a poll taken back in December that was mostly covered by right-leaning news sources. And then all of a sudden, you guys have common ground to base your conversation in. You can actually engage with the facts, like, for instance, who conducted the poll? What was the sample size? If you sign up using my link, ground.news/majority, you're going to get 40% off the Vantage plan, which includes unlimited access to the blind spot feed. It's a really good service with an important mission, so I hope you're going to check it out.